Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
If you shave your cooch, but not your booty hole, is that the same as a mullet?
My tongue out her ass and left. I'm on TV! Oh shit! First cops, now this? Oh.
I hope you are doing well this evening. We've got some conversation topics tonight about geofencing. Geofencing is becoming kind of this hot topic. I actually saw the post come from Smiley's World, which was hindsight. So thank you, both of you beautiful ladies. If it wasn't for Smiley's World sharing it, I might have missed it. I don't know how, but I saw Smiley's before I saw hindsight. So anyways, guys, I just want to thank everybody that keeps their eyes and ears to the ground. And we are going to listen to a lot. We're even going back to ET's statements about the geo-tracking done at Sebastian Rogers' location, right? And we're wondering, what is the process? What is law enforcement, say? What are they going to do? What are the processes that they use? What time frame would they select for this geofencing, right? So that's what we're going to be discussing today. Thank you for all being here. I'm Bullhorn Betty. This is the Bullhorn Betty channel, and we're going to dive into the Sebastian Rogers case in part. We're going to learn a little more about geofencing. Now, this is not going to be a scholar's education because I'm not a scholar in geofencing, but it's definitely some things that we can look at and dive in a little deeper. Melanie, it's nice to have you. The Real Me Too. Dawn up in the house. Grave Crime with Grace. Find Sebastian now. Autistic person. Riv, it's nice to see you, Riv. Outer Banks, it's nice to see you. Cinda, good evening. Me and you. Deanna. Lisa, be always. Melanie. Princess Jasmina. Melinda. M. Damon, it's nice to see you. Show Poodle, meow. Archaholic, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? I think I said hi to everybody. Carla, it's nice to see you. Brown Eyed Girls, it's nice to see you. Bluegrass Meadows, Denise, hindsight. Blessed Tuesday. Yes, blessed Tuesday. Outer Banks, I think I said hi to you. Texas Life Julie, Sweet Misery, up in the house. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. Little Orange Man, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? Lorraine, it's nice to have you. Melody, Detective Whiskers, Barbosa, good evening, y'all. Good evening. Truth in Time, Jody, it's nice to see you. Good evening, everyone. We're getting people pulled in here. We've already up to 143. Wow. Be Betty fan and all of my mod squad, thank you for being here. I see Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy up in the house. Kelly, it's nice to see you. SRK. Hey, hey, hey. Clarissa, same at you. Karen, Travis, nice to see you. Texas Life, Julie, 2 months member. I'm curious to learn more about geofencing. Me too, right? And it had been brought up, but it wasn't really until I saw the video, because I watched it, right? I'm glad that it was put out there. I'm glad I got to see it. And it started, sparking some debate in my brain. SRK gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell SRK thank you. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the video that we saw on Hindsight. I did find the video. So we do have, again, thanking Smiley Stories World and good gracious, I can't speak today. Hindsight, thank you for putting this together. I found the version, but before we go to yours, I forgot about this. I wanted you guys to listen to this, because this was one of the first articles or things that I could find about this geofencing, which was pretty interesting. So I thought I'd play this for you.
Roger Riley's been looking into this. He joins us live from Ames. And Roger, this could be the first time a lot of us are hearing this term geofencing.
Yeah, it's a new one for me too, Janae. I grew up on a farm building fences to keep animals in check, but this one is one that is built online around a very specific area in the online marketing industry. It's a way to reach customers when they're nearby. Today, I spoke with Benjamin Buslog and his company AdCelerant. Now, he's an Urbandale native who demonstrated for me how to make a geofence around his favorite hangout in Urbandale, Bebop's.
Geofencing is when somebody goes down and they target anybody who's been in this location. I can draw, sometimes geofences can be a radius. So you put like a center point and then it's just a radius. So you want to do a 50-meter radius, 100-meter radius, something like that. Or you can draw a polygon like this. I can actually draw a polygon here, and then anytime a person's in there, you can deliver an ad to them, but they have to be using their phone. And it's not a pop-up ad.
So you guys get this. The geofencing was originally designed and marketed for clients and people that wanted to reach people digitally and put things in a local or concentrated area. Well, that has since expanded. A lot of law enforcement is now utilizing this for their own type of geofencing when it comes to crimes. So this has been used, widely used in sales markets all over the country. And why not law enforcement? Why not law enforcement? It sounds like they're not getting any private data or private information, just an identity of, just the phone identity of whoever is in the area. But this is from Hindsight again. Shout out to Hindsight.
What is a geofence warrant? If you've ever wondered how law enforcement uses technology to solve crimes, you might have stumbled upon the term geofence warrant. So, what exactly is a geofence warrant and how does it work? Imagine a scenario where a crime occurs, but there are no witnesses or clear leads. This is where a geofence warrant comes into play. It's a specialized type of search warrant that allows law enforcement to gather location data from companies like Google about devices that were present in a specific area during a certain time period.
Now, they said like Google. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's only Google, right? They could be, I'm sure, Safari is another one. We have a lot of different, well, not a lot. There's few, but bottom line is they said like Google, not only Google.
Here's how it works. Law enforcement creates a virtual perimeter, known as a geofence, using GPS coordinates. This geofence defines the exact area and time frame they are interested in. For example, if a crime happened at a convenience store between 3 and 3:30 p.m., the geofence would be set around that store and that time frame. When law enforcement requests a geofence warrant, they are asking companies like Google to provide the location history data of every device that was within this defined area during the specified time. Google's database, known as the Sensor Vault, contains historical geolocation data for users who have location tracking enabled on their devices. Once the warrant is issued, Google searches its database and provides law enforcement with a list of anonymized devices that were within the geofence. This list includes devices that might belong to both suspects and innocent bystanders.
But we have to remember it's between 12 and 6 a.m., right? 12 and 6 a.m. And it's a concentrated area if we apply it to the Sebastian Rogers case. There's not a whole lot out there. There's a few communities that are nice and up and coming. But for the most part, it's a concentrated area. The school's, a half a mile up the road. It takes about 2.5 minutes to get there. And, a very small geofence area would probably be necessary, probably just their community alone, because of the car seen on the side of the road. Just a lot. So we've got concentrated areas. We've got this geofence warrant. We know that the CART team did a geofence for the Sebastian Rogers case. And we're going to get over to Elevated Truth's commentary here in just a second.
The data is initially anonymized, meaning it doesn't directly identify the device owners. Law enforcement then analyzes this data to narrow down the list and identify devices that could be linked to the crime. If they find a device of interest, they can request additional information about that device, such as its location before and after the crime, to build a stronger case. This process is often multi-phased to protect the privacy of unrelated individuals. In the first phase, law enforcement identifies devices within the geofence. In subsequent phases, they can request more detailed information about specific devices, always justifying each step to ensure they are not fishing for data without a clear reason. Geofence warrants have been used since 2016 and have become increasingly common, with Google receiving thousands of such requests each year.
Google receiving thousands of such requests every single year. That's a lot.
While they can be powerful tools for solving crimes, they also raise privacy concerns because they collect data from many devices, including those belonging to innocent people. In summary, a geofence warrant is a tool that helps law enforcement gather crucial location data to identify potential suspects in a crime, but it must be used carefully to balance investigative needs with individual privacy rights.
All right, so there we have it. Now I have another one that I'm going to play. I think it's going to be similar in nature, but I think it gives us more descriptive options. Let me make sure I didn't kick my... Okay, good. Want to make sure I didn't kick my audio. It's always hard when I'm balancing.
Physical location.
Sorry.
Geofences detect when someone comes in or leaves the given region. When this happens, it is possible to trigger events and actions, such as sending a notification to the user's mobile phone.
That's great, Daniel, but how does it work?
As a user moves around with her phone, a new position is calculated every now and then from a variety of different sources, such as Wi-Fi and cellular data, GPS, and Bluetooth beacons. The phone uses the updated position to check if the user has entered.
These are more options here. So they're using cellular data. Obviously, there's a satellite up here, Wi-Fi signal, as well as Bluetooth. So they've got a lot of different items and ways to track you. So how is it done with, say, missing people, right? We're going to discuss that in just a few minutes. One more video. Oh, shoot. I just dropped a video. I accidentally hit the wrong button. Hold on here. Let me get it queued back up. God burn it. Okay. There we go. This is going to be hard to hear. You guys might need to turn up your volume for this next one. I don't know if it's going to kick my audio. It still didn't kick my audio. I'm very happy with that. Where is it? There it is.
Everyone, I'm Nick Lefay.
And I'm Juliette Dragas. Your cell phone's location data could help law enforcement solve crimes with something called geofence warrants.
It's another useful tool in law enforcement's investigative box. But 13 on your sides, Carla Byron dug into why this cutting-edge method is so controversial.
If you have a phone with Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, or Google, your phone is constantly looking to save your location and share it with the company.
A law enforcement agency may be interested in that data if they think it'll be helpful in solving a crime. So they can ask a judge to execute what's called a geofence warrant.
It's a search warrant, not for a particular person, but to a Google or an Apple saying, this is a geographic region, say a city block, and a date and time. And we would like to know if you have any users that were in that location.
Did you guys hear that? Date and time. Date and time. We're going to get into what the time range would be that would be most likely applied to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case.
On that date and time, and if so, provide their information.
Let's give a hypothetical situation, say a string of strong-armed robberies. Police know it's the same suspect and method, but they don't know who that person is.
You could do a geofence warrant to say, okay, if we know we had a robbery at this location on this date, and this location at this date, and this other location at this date, let's do a search warrant for those 3 locations at those 3 dates and times and see if there's any person that is in those 3 boxes on all 3 lists.
Wow.
Controversial because people's records can be accessed who had nothing to do with a crime, which is why Helmer says investigators should write the warrants as narrowly as possible and only use them when necessary. They would also need to be backed up by other evidence.
You can't have the biggest fishing net and say, I want the whole city of Grand Rapids for this week. Number one, you're going to overwhelm your investigators. But number 2, those people have a reasonable expectation of privacy, and you have no reason to request that wide of a scope.
As technology progresses, the more law enforcement.
Do you guys understand that? Do you guys understand that? So that because they're not using, they can't use they can use a city block, they can use a community, but they can't go for like the county. Who was all in the county at the time? That's too broad. They have to narrowly describe it in that warrant to get it. So the probability of them just doing a geofence on their community between 12 and 6 a.m. would be sufficient. But you understand they can't be broader. Because if they do, it may not be signed. It may not be allowed. So they've got to narrow it as much as possible. And why is that important? We're going to get to it because that's going to come on the Elevated Truth segment.
We give up so much privacy by downloading these apps and having these free Facebooks and Snapchats and Twitters that we're essentially all carrying a tracking device in our pockets.
Helmer isn't aware of any geofence warrants executed in Kent County, but they could in the near future.
In the 2000s, it was cell phone tower location information, mapping where people were based on what towers their cell phone were using. It was new. You didn't see a lot of people using it. Now it's commonplace. I think this will be the same.
These warrants are rare, but as they become more prevalent, Helmer expects case law to develop to help prosecutors deal with them.
So there you go. A major crime-fighting tool for law enforcement that helps them identify who's in the area, who can they narrow in on. We talk about it on this show all the time about how many people give up their privacy. We all do it. Like I'm Major. I don't like Big Brother. I don't like Uncle Sam. I don't like any of it, right? I'm sure none of you guys do, but it's a necessary evil. If we want that connection with people, which a lot of our connections, let's face it, are online more than in person like they once were. We all need to get out a little more and meet people, in all honesty, but I digress. At the end of the day, we put ourselves in the situation where we can be tracked. We never anticipate, for many of us, that we're ever going it's ever going to be a problem for us, but there are people that it's a problem for. We had the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. We've seen lights on the outside of the home. Somebody believes that some of those lights, those bright lights, were actually cell phones, as opposed to being a flashlight, the flashlight the cell phone, the flashlight on the cell phone, as opposed to it being a flashlight that you carry with you. So, there might be a whole host of information. Maybe the geofencing is it sounds like part of that is just looking for any Wi-Fi coming into the area. And I don't quite understand that either. And I think that might have been why Body on Elevated Truth was so confused, as I don't think it had to do with the Wi-Fi. I think it had to do with something else, but it could have been the truck's Wi-Fi. I don't know. But what we do know is that Chris acknowledged being picked up on one of those geofencing. The problem is he wasn't there until after the time frame when they would have searched, because they have to narrowly define this geofencing search. They can't get this search warrant without it being very, very tailored, like you just heard. So I think now we need to probably go over to Elevated Truth, because I think we need to hear what was said on that and apply it to what we've learned so far about geofencing.
I think he went into a vehicle. I think he met
No.
someone.
I think
he could have made it to Long Hollow and met somebody.
Right.
Where's the digital footprint then?
He doesn't have to have a digital footprint. It could have been it could have been anybody on the road.
How do you think people kidnapped before electronics were around?
Before electronics were around, they didn't have car teams that could come in and figure out what phones were used, what Wi-Fi's were in the area.
I think this stuff really bothered Elevated Truth. I don't know what it is, but I feel like Elevated Truth was told something big that made him, because I haven't really heard about him talking about this case too much after this. I don't know if that's the truth or not. I don't go to his channel. I don't watch him or anything like that. But, I haven't heard his name brought up in conversations at all since this major powwow on his channel, which, again, he took this video down. I didn't realize I had downloaded the full rendition of this, so I have a searchable format, which is nice. But again, let's listen to what is being said. Now that we learned, let's go back to that video. I want you guys to hear this again, about the, it's only a 2-minute video. So let's listen. Oh, you can't hear that. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't add it. There we go.
Helpful in solving a crime, so they can ask a judge to execute what's called a geofence warrant.
It's a search warrant, not for a particular person, but to a Google or an Apple, saying this is a geographic region, say a city block, and a date and time. We would like to know
a date and time. Now we're going to get down a little further. On this particular video, you're going to have to turn your volume up if you can barely hear it. It is just a low recording.
if you have any users that were in that location on that date and time, and if so, provide their information.
Let's give a hypothetical situation, say a string of strong-armed robberies. Police know it's the same suspect and method, but they don't know who that person is.
You could do a geofence warrant.
See how they're doing they didn't do the whole area where these crimes took place. They did a very coordinated spot around the crime. And listen to the times. They were very specific.
To say, okay, if we know we had a robbery at this location on this date, and this location at this date, and this other location at this date, Let's do a search warrant for those 3 locations at those 3 dates and times.
Let's do those locations for those 3 locations and the crimes, the dates and times of the crime. So since in the Sebastian Rogers case, there's a window of time in a concentrated area, and that window of time is midnight to 6 a.m. Do you think they would have the ability to go outside of that little area or outside of that already expanded time frame? I don't think so. I really don't think so.
See if there's any person that is in those 3 boxes on all 3 lists.
They're controversial because people's records can be accessed who had nothing to do with a crime, which is why Helmer says in
City of Grand Rapids for this week. Number 1, you're going to overwhelm your investigators. But number 2, those people have
let's go back just a little bit
them when necessary. They would also need to be backed up by other evidence.
You can't have the biggest fishing net and say, I want the whole city of Grand Rapids
Right
for
here.
this week. Number 1, you're going to overwhelm your investigators. But number 2, those people have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
So they're not going to be going outside of what they can prove they need, right? Because it's a geofence warrant. So they have to be very consistent, very concise on this geofence warrant. They have to list the dates and times. So it would be the dates and times of the crime. For them to go outside of that, they would risk not being able to get the warrant that they need. So I think this is important, and I think we need to listen to what Mr. Proudfoot says on Elevated Truth. But in order for geofencing to pick up a device, the location setting on the device must be not anymore. Not anymore, Rosebud. No, they can do it. We just showed you on the other one all the places that they can that pick up your device. Hold on, let me see if I can do this right here. So you have several different things that can pick up your device. You have Wi-Fi, cell towers, Bluetooth, and satellite. So that's not necessarily true. So if you have your app on and say you have your location off for, say, Google or whatever, you're still being picked up on the local Wi-Fi that you're able to come in contact with, or the Bluetooth item that you're coming in contact with. So not this day and age. This day and age, even if you have your location off, you can be tracked by a multitude of other ways. So yes, that was, in my opinion, what it was back in the day. But from my understanding, this day and age, that's not the case. This day and age, you're being tracked by many different triggers. Remember, in the Idaho 4, maybe you were with me, Rosebud, maybe you weren't, I'm not sure. But they were able to say that Brian's phone hit on the Wi-Fi device inside the home. That means it came close enough to the Wi-Fi device for it to say it was in range, and if they had the code, they could get it on that internet. That is also part of geofencing, from my understanding. So again, I'm an amateur at geofencing. We're all kind of learning together. But let's listen. Let's keep listening to what the actual words say are said here.
Now, mind you, it was said that there were only 2 exterior internet sources that came in and out of the area that night.
In the area that night. Now, Christopher Proudfoot maintains that his car did not go through there until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was picked up on the card team geofencing, but he was picked up on it after 1 p.m. in the afternoon of February 26th. Everything that we're learning about this geofencing warrant is saying, no, that could not be possible because it has to be narrowly tailored. And going outside of the time that this child was missing is not narrowly tailored. It could be misconstrued as a fishing expedition.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it funny how one person said one of them was his?
Yeah, that would be a little weird, for sure.
Oh, it got quiet real quick on that one.
I answered you.
I don't think I understand what you're.
I don't
I'm sorry.
understand it
I
either.
don't
I'm
understand
sorry.
what you're saying. That's why I'm quiet.
Hold on. Let me go back. Sorry. That wasn't supposed to do that. I hit the button. I was just trying to, I swear I was just trying to pause it. I was just trying to pause it. And I hit the wrong button. It happens. It happens. So let's go over here to a little bit more. Let me go. I forgot to have my transcript up. And so this is where we are. And I want to wait until Mr. Proudfoot gets up on the screen. Why is it not allowing me? Okay, give me just a second. There we go. And Mr. Proudfoot is getting up in about 3 minutes. We'll speed it along. We'll give it about maybe 30 seconds. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, as I say, I'm here. I'm listening. I was cooking dinner, so I was listening to you guys as you were talking. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just kind of taking it all in, to be honest with you. Who was trying to come up?
All right, I'm about to
How
bring.
you gonna wait 20 minutes? How did I say that 20 minutes ago? Talking about, is Queen still even in here? She can come in. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. Somebody just asked in the chat, Large Marge or something, said, am I still here? Yeah.
I thought you were answering me.
So-
I was like, I asked that shit 20 minutes ago. What are you talking about?
All right, guys. So I'm gonna bring Chris up. So here we go.
All right.
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Hey, Chris, what's up, man?
What's going on? I want to know what's this talk that somebody on this panel is saying that I told you that my truck was in that neighborhood the night Sebastian went missing or the night before.
That's not what was said. What was said was you said that your truck's Wi-Fi was in the cart when the cart team did their thing on the 25th or the 26th. And I also restated that it could have very well been when you came home after Sebastian went missing.
No,
So that would have had to been the 26th when I got to my house.
That's
around
what
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
that's what we said.
That's what we said.
Chris. That's exactly what we said.
So where was his truck? It could not have been after 1 p.m. Based on everything that we know and how difficult these geofencing warrants are, how in the world can it be after 1 in the afternoon when he was reported missing at 6 a.m.? It doesn't make sense. And he's talking about his truck, and he acknowledged it being picked up on this report. So how can his truck be picked up on this report if it's narrowly drafted? It has to be this area at this date and time. And I'm quite sure it can be arranged. It makes me wonder if his truck, I've always thought somebody was over in that construction site. That car went up toward the construction site, which up Devon, turned around and came back to Stafford Court and sat right there on the corner. We see the lights approaching and something happening. When it's blown up, it looks like something is being placed in the car. When we blow up the light source, it appears like there's something carrying a blob. So and as hot and angry as Mr. Proudfoot is at this point, he's spitting nails. We can hear it in his voice. My truck. So that's telling me his truck was picked up. Not somebody else's vehicle. His truck. The problem is the shadow that we're seeing in the image across the street on Kellen and Stafford is not a truck. A truck is not seen in that community. So where was his truck picked up at? And what time between midnight and 6 a.m. was it picked up? That would be interesting to find out.
I said it has to have been when he was coming home from the work site.
That's what was said.
My truck wasn't in the area, the vicinity, and the FBI knows this. So don't speak of my truck being in that vicinity of that area until the 26th at 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
That's what we said.
Well, not the time frame, but
Not the time
now
frame
you know
because we
the
didn't know
time
the
frame.
time. But what we said was that they did it for the 25th and the 26th. So it's just as much likely that it was when he came in after Sebastian went missing.
Yeah, and that's why I was confused because I was like, what? And then that's why I said it.
What justification would they have to do it on the 26th? That doesn't even remotely make sense except for 6 a.m. From midnight. Well, I guess it would all be the 26th that they would have pulled it because it would have been from midnight. And I'm sure they may have went back. They may have been able to justify the range to go back probably to 9 p.m., you know? But that is pretty interesting. But I would think that initially, before they knew to go back hours, they probably did the initial pull from midnight to 3 a.m. or to 6 a.m. That would be my thought. Or they may end up doing the specific location at 3 or between 3 and 4 a.m. Wouldn't that be wild if that was their very narrow request? That would be bombshell information that between 3 and 4 a.m. there was 2 vehicles. And wouldn't that equate for Mr. Proudfoot's truck potentially being over at the construction site, and whoever went up there turned around and went back? Wouldn't that equate for the 2 vehicles? Because that Uber vehicle, if I remember, you guys are going to have to remind me because I don't remember. It's been a while since we looked at the Uber vehicle, what time it was there. But I'm thinking it was like an hour after this event that happened on Kellen and Stafford. So if it was a narrowly written one between 3 and 4 a.m., maybe the only 2 vehicles in the area, because he said my truck. So I have to think that it was his truck that got picked up and another vehicle that got picked up. Well, we definitely know that the vehicle we're looking at, I don't know what type of vehicle it is. There's some people out there with their opinion on what type of vehicle it is. But I think we can all conclude that it's not a pickup truck. So what does this imply? Let's keep listening and see if they have any more to say, and then I'll be wrapping this portion up.
It had to have been when he came home.
Well, see, the problem is you get a bunch of people out here. You say one thing, you mean one thing, and this, that, and another, and then it runs wild like a fucking brush fire that goes crazy.
It's true.
And here we are. We're 10 months into this. We got no leads. We got nothing. But yet we got another team over here that's out here just...
And I still want to know why he keeps thinking there's no leads. There's no leads coming in. Because... from my understanding, they stopped cooperating with law enforcement at the end of last year. At least that's my assumption. I believe it was the end of last year. It might have been the beginning of this year. I can't remember when I found out about it. I know it was several months. So how would they know at this point, at this juncture, that there's no leads and they have no information? Because everything that Eric Craddock is saying, especially in the NBC, is that this is very much an active and ongoing case. He's not wavering a little bit on that this is going cold and there's no leads and no investigative routes to go. At least that's not what I got from the most recent Dateline. It was the Dateline posting. It seemed like he was, they should do a geofence at Worshams between 5 and 6:30 on the 26th. Interesting. I wonder if they could still go. Yeah, I'm sure they can go back. I'm sure that it's archived data. That would be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting. So let's look at what we have here. Let me blow it up on the big screen so you guys can see it. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. Yeah, there we go. And so in a missing person case, A geofencing warrant typically targets a specific area and time period with the goal of identifying devices that were present in the area during that time. So, why would they be going outside of the time Sebastian disappeared? I mean, I can see them going backwards, but not forwards. For example, I don't see them doing a warrant that goes all the way to 1 p.m. It just doesn't make sense to everything we're reading here. So it says for a specific area and time period. So it does have a period. They can do a range of time with the goal of identifying devices that were present in that area during that time, potentially leading to the missing person's location. So here's the breakdown of typical parameters. Geographic area. The warrant specifies the area, geofence, where law enforcement believes the missing person might be, often based on last known location or potential routes. Time period. The warrant will define a specific time frame during which data will be collected, typically encompassing the period around the time the person was last seen. Right here. Right there. Data collection. The warrant allows law enforcement to request location data from private companies like Google. Now, they didn't say only Google, like Google, for all devices that were within the specified area during the specified time frame. Let's think about that. We just learned on another video that they pick up on not just Google, but your Facebook, your Snapchat, all of these things. All of these apps are monitoring you. Then you have your Wi-Fi signals and your Bluetooth signals, right? So you have all of these different things. What are the probability of all of these resources to garner this geofencing information from only producing 2 signals in the area? It sounds unbelievable now that we're kind of looking into this aspect of it. Fourth Amendment considerations. Court have debated whether geofence warrants are a search under the Fourth Amendment. Some argue that a broad nature of search is problematic. You hear that? Broad nature of the search. You cannot just say, I want the entire community of Sumner County for a 24-hour period. I want this one little location for a 24. It has to be narrowly tailored. And you still have, they're saying that there is not probable cause related to, I guess, issuing the warrant. So they say some argue that a geofence warrant should require probable cause, similar to other search warrants, while others argue the lesser standard is sufficient. This stuff, the geofencing stuff, has been sold for sales purposes for years. I used to be with Sales Genie or Salesforce when I was back selling insurance. I know about geofencing in insurance businesses and practices. And I've got to tell you, it was way back then when I was licensed. I can't remember what year I was licensed, but I remember it was probably around, oh, good gracious, 2010 maybe, something like that. Maybe earlier. I'm guessing here. Don't hold my feet to the fire. But if we can use it for sales purposes and they're using the same exact type of information, what's the difference? Narrowing the search. Warrant Builder states, and I did watch their little thing, but there's actually companies that help build these warrants for them. That warrant can be tailored for a specified time and place to limit scope of search. So it's very important that they limit the scope of search. Why am I impressing this upon you? Because it doesn't make sense that the scope would encompass February 26th at 1 p.m. It just doesn't seem like it would. Multiple warrants. The geofence process may involve multiple warrants or a combination of warrants and other forms of process. A warrant could authorize the collection of location data from devices within a mile radius of Bradenton, Florida, between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. on April 8th, 2025. There's your example. This is what the authorization would look like. Now, could they do it from 12 to 6 a.m.? Most likely, but if they only had a range, an hour range, which I don't believe, this is just an example, I think they would do it from 3 to 4 in the morning. But I truly believe they have the ability to get that geofencing warrant by, for a 6-hour period, the time period when Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers disappeared. So I thought that that was super, super interesting. I got some more information if I can. Why won't this one go down? I guess this is how their website is. It appears. Let me see if I can. There we go. And so this is more information. This is on that warrant builder app that we just read. It shows you how to kind of draw your area on here. And it says, and this is kind of their blurb about their product that they sell probably to law enforcement. It's just past midnight and 3 drive-by shootings just occurred in your city. As luck would have it, no witnesses can be found to identify the vehicle. The victims are not talking, lacking leads. The case is unsolvable. A geofence warrant may be the only solution. We make writing geofence warrants as easy as point-click warrant. Warrant Builder puts decades of warrant writing and cybercrime investigation expertise at your fingertips for every officer, empowering them to tackle any investigation, no matter how complicated. Warrant Builder helps law enforcement create both advanced location tower dumps and Google geofencing warrants with integrated mapping and return analysis tools. Geofencing warrant is a legally obtained order obtained by law enforcement agencies to collect data from electronic devices within a specified geographical area during a particular time frame. It allows investigators to acquire information such as GPS coordinates, timestamps, and other relevant data from mobile devices, wearables, and connected cars that may be present within the designated area. The process begins by establishing a virtual perimeter known as a geofence. By using GPS coordinates, the warrant specifies the area and the time period during which the data will be collected. For advanced location tower dumps, both AT&T and T-Mobile require a radius from a point. Google allows for shapes like squares and polygons. In a drive-by shooting, perimeter around 3 victims' residence would be created when the geofencing process is complete. A phone was found in all 3 locations, may be identified. That's your suspect. So that gives you an idea about that. And of course, I plugged some of this information in to AI just to see what basic information we could get from Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, what AI, is spitting out for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And this is what I came up with through that. Now, there are some things that are not really accurate, like this right here. This line item right here says April 2024 landfill search based on neighborhood garbage. Unless it's a landfill search we were unaware of, we know that the landfill search happened at the beginning of March. So there are some inaccuracies here, but I did plug in some information and asked it to produce me a report, which it did. So I'm just going to go through number 3, search efforts and investigative action. Physical searches, 2,000 miles of area searched by canine units, drones, helicopters, caves, river, and landfill. Surveillance was reviewed neighborhood cameras. We know that did not turn up Sebastian walking out of the house. So family interview, mother, stepfather, biological father interviewed. We know more people than that were interviewed. We know that the neighbors were interviewed extensively that were especially in and around this home or ones that had cameras on this home. We know that the family Chris's family, as well as Katie's family, their extended family, have been interviewed. And from my understanding, several search warrants were executed. I'm not sure on which properties, but I know that several search warrants were executed. I don't know if they were willingly or unwillingly. Maybe they gave them permission to do it, but I just heard that. Digital investigation, no evidence online luring. There's no evidence that this child was lured out of the house by online means or by an online predator. Medical facility alerts. All area hospitals were notified, and he never came up. He never showed up. He just poof, and he's gone. Critical missing evidence. No credible sightings after the disappearance. No physical items located that we know of. There are no alleged signs of struggle. There's no digital footprint. Canine scent trails went cold quickly. They did not follow we learned later, they did not follow his scent. They were following a scent. We don't know whose scent, but I believe law enforcement may. Glasses found were not his. A simple victimology and risk assessment, moderate to high due to the autism, limited communication under stress, flight risk if startled, unlikely to survive long alone. So we have the same assessment. He's either got to be with somebody and they're taking care of his daily needs, or he's not. And it's just that black and white, because we don't know what happened to him. Now, I also asked for it to give me some persons of interest, as well as what working theories may come up. These are not mine. This is what AI spit out at me, and I didn't provide it a whole lot of information, my detailed information. This would be more detailed had I plugged in the information that we know as we know it. But I wanted it to do his own thing with what it could pull from the internet and stuff like that. So, person of interest analysis. Mother, cooperative, active in search. Stepfather, cooperative, but public scrutiny over inconsistencies. I would say that they've got those two wrong in the AI world. I believe that, I don't know where they got cooperative and active in searches. We know Katie Proudfoot has not been active out there in searches, does the bare minimal to keep her son's face and name alive. They would rather be talking about, let's face it, excuse my language, but sex toys and dildos as opposed to talking about their children. I find it appalling personally. The biological father, alibi verified. And it states that it's a distant relationship, and we know that that couldn't be further from the truth. Stranger. Under stranger, it said unlikely, no forced entry or suspicious sighting. So working theory. Wandered away accidentally, it says medium likelihood. Abductor by unknown party, medium likelihood. Foul play inside the home, medium to high likelihood. And intentional concealment or runaway, low likelihood. This was the other one. This had the lowest likelihood right here of all of the theories, was him being concealed. What does it mean? It means that familial type of abduction where mom or stepdad put him somewhere so he couldn't go to his father. That is the lowest on this totem pole as possibilities according to AI. Profile of potential offenders. Here's where we get kind of where it's laid out for us. Likely known to the victim, familiar with the home layout, knowledge of Sebastian vulnerabilities, and familiar with local waste disposal routes. Interesting that they put that in there. The conclusion, likely responsible party based upon AI. Based on the evidence, foul play within the home is the most plausible theory. The prime focus should be on individuals within the household, particularly the stepfather, giving statistical trends and investigative behaviors in similar cases. So while I agree in part with some of the assessments of AI, I thought I would just plug it in, see what we got out of it. see if it made sense, and provide you guys the finding, the unedited, the raw findings from AI. And again, there were a few things it got wrong, but I don't know where it based its information upon, because it only gave me like 3 sources it had looked at by the time it was done. But I digress. I think overall the report was accurate. Overall, there were some inconsistencies on that. We know that. So, what do you do? What do you do? Let me make sure I've got everything buttoned up here. Geofence warrants. We went through that. We went through that. What is this? Oh, I don't want to do that. And so I want you guys to hear this just a little bit more. We're going to watch the last minute and 30 seconds, and then we'll kind of open up for comments
and see if there's any person that is in those 3 boxes on all 3 lists.
They're controversial because people's records can be accessed who had nothing to do with a crime, which is why Helmer says investigators should write the warrants as narrowly as possible and only use them when necessary. They would also need to be backed up by other evidence.
You can't have the biggest fishing net and say, I want the whole city of Grand Rapids for this week. Number 1, you're going to overwhelm your investigators. But number 2, those people have a reasonable expectation of privacy, and you have no reason to request that wide of a scope.
As technology progresses, the more law enforcement can know about you.
We give up so much privacy by downloading these apps and having these free Facebooks and Snapchats and Twitters that we're essentially all carrying a tracking device in our pockets.
Helmer isn't aware of any geofence warrants executed in Kent County, but they could in the near future.
In the 2000s, it was cell phone tower location information, mapping where people were based on what towers their cell phone were using. It was new. You didn't see a lot of people using it. Now it's commonplace. I think this will be the same.
These warrants are rare, but as they become more prevalent, Helmer expects case law to develop to help prosecutors deal with them. Reporting in Grand Rapids, Carla.
So I think what we can reasonably deduct from this live broadcast is that what Mr. Proudfoot said on Elevated Truth wouldn't make sense with what reports and law enforcement are telling the public. Would law enforcement do some, hinky stuff to get results? It's possible. I definitely know when time is of an essence, things will get, some people will go to the, and straddle that line. So, but these privacy conditions can hinder solving crimes. It's a commonplace. Like I said, if this stuff, when we sign up for these companies, we're giving them permission to use us on third-party apps. We give them the permission. Okay? We're on there to make these companies money. We're not. People think that Facebook is really just about us socializing. No, it's not. It's an advertising revenue. Meta has this huge thing for advertising. They're an advertise company. We sign up to communicate with our people and be in connection and set up groups and do all this stuff under the condition that they're going to make us their, purchasers of the people that they're advertising for. So we've just got to remember, thank you, Kim. We've got to remember that. They have all the rights. We gave them the rights. By us having those apps on, that's the terms and service conditions. You know how they have you updated agreement, updated terms of service, right? We signed it. We wanted the app. We got the app. And now, So I wanted to thank Texas Life Julie. I'm curious to learn more about geofencing. I hope people learned something. I know I learned something. I took something away from that. I knew nothing about geofencing. Now, not only do I know what geofencing truly is, I also know about police practices in conjunction with those geofencing warrants. So that is super interesting. SRK gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell SRK thank you. And welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. I.E. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Brown Eye Girls said, Betty, keep being you. I love you for what you do. Thank you so much. Our beautiful Renee. Thank you. Prayers always to Seth, Sebastian, and everyone in Sebastian's army, wishing every day for answers. I know we all are wishing for answers and we are plugging away, but just things aren't moving, quick at all. It seems like all the answers are right there. It's just putting them all the pieces together, It seems like we've got it. I wish law enforcement would come out here and say, we need this nugget. We could go search for that nugget. But they won't. So I just, once cases get past a year, it gets harder and harder because you've already covered everything that you can possibly cover on it by the year's up. You've already went over all of the theories and assessments on the case. You already have a clear understanding who's responsible. And then law enforcement has to bring it home. The problem is I'm going to keep stating it until I'm proven otherwise by the state of Tennessee. As far as I'm concerned, the state of Tennessee, no matter what they say, is a no body, no crime state. Okay? We got too many people. The cases were equally as obvious as what happened, and they never brought the circumstantial case. In many of these cases, they're never going to be able, like in Summer Wells, I truly believe and have for a very long time, since I covered that case, she was deceased. I don't believe she was sold. I don't believe she's out there. I believe she's gone, and I believe her dad hit her. I don't know what happened in that house, but by them trying to lie and say that Don Wells was not at the house when she disappeared, I call bullcrap. I also further have a problem with, adult pee on the TV when Chris McDonough's there and coming in. That implies somebody was in that room. I don't see anybody having videotapes running at 10-hour days. Okay. There's no videotape that's long enough for a 10-hour, whatever. And I felt like, Don Wells was there for the initial interview with Candace. I believe he was there the afternoon she came back with Summer. I believe something happened inside that home, whether it be SA or something worse where somebody lost their stuff and just hurt her. But, little children and big people cause a lot of damage internally if that's the case. And I never want to think about that, but it's hard not to, seeing the pedigree of Don Wells. Okay. Their whole family is messed up. Their whole family is filled with family that does things with other family. It's very sick on both sides, like Candace's uncle, he's been charged with incest, right? So it's the whole family on both sides is really, really, really messed up. And I really think that is going to be, I don't think they'll ever be able to prove that, even if they find her, because of the state her remains have to be in by now. But I know he came home and he keeps lying about coming home. And that is what really makes me feel like he was involved with whatever happened to her. I feel the same way with Chris. I feel Chris came home, and with him shielding his involvement or him not coming home, it's really trying to shield his involvement. In my opinions, I think that Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers' case, although different time periods, although different circumstances, have a lot of the same similarities when it comes to the mom and the alleged father/stepfather in either home. Those are pretty similar in nature, in my opinion. Thank you, Kim. God bless you. God bless everybody. So what was your biggest takeaway, just going through here, what was your biggest takeaway for each of you individually? Oh, we got one more I missed. Hold on, sorry. Oh, look at that. Sorry about that. I almost missed you guys. Oh, Gina H, I remember you. It's nice to see you, love. Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership, and Gina gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty memberships, don't forget to tell Melanie or Gina, thank you so much for the gifted membership. God bless you, beautiful ladies. And for those that received your Bullhorn Betty membership, welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. I.e. the Insane Asylum. Sorry, I didn't feel like it was coming out of me. I had to make sure it was out of me. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room and welcome to this crazy crew. I don't know. I think I'm tired. I think I'm exhausted. I have worked all day, I say. So God bless you guys. Thank you for being here, and I'll wait to see what some of you guys have to say. Oh, thank you guys. But what did you guys think about that presentation? I thought it was enlightening. I know it was enlightening for me. You know, we didn't know what geofencing was or how really it was used. I think everybody had a preconceived notion of what geofencing was. But again, big shout out to Hindsight. Thank you so much for grabbing this, for bringing it to a talking point. I hope I did you good and well by elaborating just a little bit further so people could understand a little more about it. So guys, I appreciate you all being here. My hour is up with you. I love you guys to death. I can't wait to see you again. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to be, actually tomorrow I've got a full day. I might have to go live ridiculously early in order to get everything I need to get done tomorrow done. You guys know we have another major uphill battle coming up on the 16th. I have been working around the clock, much like I did for the 2nd, trying to get everything buttoned up that is requested from me by my attorney. And we're going to keep moving this ball forward. Hopefully I get some good news tomorrow, but you know, we can pray for it, right? Let's give good vibes out there that there's some good news that comes tomorrow. I don't know if there will be any good news, but let's just all pray. I'm doing the best I possibly can. And I think I'm doing it, you know, fairly good. It's a little rough. It gets a little rocky here and there, but I've been holding it together. So God bless you, each and every one of you, and we will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, I think Justin is starting in about 15 minutes. So I will see you guys all over at Justin's channel here in just a few minutes. So God bless you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, say it with me, kind to one another. Rock it out. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We've brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.